Hey guys, Ben here from Huckberry, and welcome back to episode 5 of Ask Huckberry, our show where we answer your questions specifically. Today, we've got a special edition, a takeover, if you will. We are talking about one of our favorite fabrics and the questions that we get asked most. Let's dive in. We're talking merino wool. So let's set the foundation and answer a couple of commonly asked questions, combining a few things. What is merino wool? What's the difference between merino wool and regular wool? First, quick history lesson. Merino wool actually goes back to the 13th century, and Spain being the origin. Spain dominated the wool industry, so much so that if you stole someone's sheep, it was punishable by death. That's how valuable it was. Fast forward to today, and merino wool is synonymous with, in particular, outdoor, performance, travel. We're gonna get into why, but merino wool has been around for a very long time and has been coveted. We're obviously not gonna kill you if you take one of our shirts, but it is something that has such high value because of the uniqueness to the fiber. So what's the difference between merino wool and regular wool? As I said, merino wool is a type of wool. Merino sheep is really what makes it different. It's a certain type of sheep, and the fiber from that sheep is incredibly fine. It's so fine, it's approximately 1/3 the size of a human hair, so it's really, really small. What does the finer the fabric mean? It means a softer fabric. So merino wool, you think about like your heavier fall Shetland sweaters. Like, they've got an itch to them. Merino wool doesn't have that. That's why, again, it's used for often performance layers. I'm wearing a merino shirt as my everyday t-shirt today. So a specific type of sheep, it's a finer fiber, thus being softer. So there you have it. So now that we've got that foundation, let's get into another commonly asked question in various forums, and that is what makes merino wool so good for clothing? And I alluded to some of this, obviously the softness being sort of foundational. As I said, I'm wearing one right now. I'm very comfortable. So softness check, let's get into the odor resistance. Incredibly important and something that you are wearing often, and as I've mentioned earlier, merino wool is often used in performance fabrics. It's used in base layers. It's used for travel products, which we're very familiar with. Wearing something often, wearing it hard, sweaty, environments that are constantly changing in temperature, odor resistance is really, really important. So merino wool, check, has got that. Durability, merino wool, the way that it's woven, the strength of the fabrics, it makes for, despite its lightweightness, despite its softness, it's incredibly durable. So again, it's something that you can wear often, it's not gonna wear out, it's also not gonna smell, a nice 1-2 combo. The final component to it all, which is foundational and in my opinion, probably the most important, is the temperature regulation. That is what makes wool in general and merino wool so unique and so great for a piece of clothing. It is something that can be worn in a variety of environments. It's incredibly versatile. The merino sheep themselves, they're living in environments that are as cold as 5 degrees and as warm as 95 degrees. So the fiber is meant to play in such a wide range of temperatures. Another component to the temperature regulation, when merino wool is wet, it retains its heat. Cotton t-shirts, when you get wet, you know how it feels. Merino wool, you're still gonna maintain that body heat. So if you want one t-shirt that can play in the winter, that can play in the summer, merino wool is a great option. So the versatility, the odor resistance, the durability, and the softness, it is a no-brainer for clothing. So we got into the history, we got into why it makes for great clothing. Let's talk about and answer some commonly asked questions on how do you take care of that clothing. These are the questions that we get most broadly. How do I take care of merino wool? How do I wash my merino wool? So let's get into some best practices. So one, use cold water when you're washing merino wool. If you're throwing it in the washing machine, use cold water. If you're washing by hand, use cold water. Two, use mild detergents when you are washing it. Don't use anything with harsh chemicals. It's gonna protect those fibers. Related to, 3, do not use bleach. The bleach will damage the fibers. So mild detergent, don't use bleach. When it comes to drying your merino wool, number 4, avoid high heat. So I don't put my shirts in the dryer. If you need to, if you do, put it on a low heat. High heat, you do run the risk of it shrinking. I prefer to lay my merino wool out, and that's an important distinction. Do not hang dry the merino because it's going to stretch the fibers. You want to lay flat when you are drying it. So cold water, don't use a bunch of chemicals. Make sure that you are drying on low heat, and ideally you are laying it flat and letting it dry that way. That's going to extend the life of merino wool. It's going to retain its shape. all of the factors that we got into earlier. So nothing that's wildly revolutionary, too difficult to do, but you do need to be intentional on how you take care of it. And trust me, as someone who's worn a lot of merino, especially over the last 10 years, you do those things, you're gonna have a shirt for a very, very long time. Let's get into some questions that we often get. What are some merino wool product recommendations or some additional product recommendations in addition to the shirting that you sell at Huckberry? Obviously, one of our foundations is a 72-hour shirt. It's what I am wearing right now. Shout out to our 72-hour series where we go and we put these merino shirts to the test. I wear them for 3 days straight and ask strangers to smell me. That's for another Gear Lab. Merino wool is not just for shirting. We've got a 72-hour boxer, which is pretty awesome. Same fabric, obviously, same construction. I don't necessarily recommend wearing the boxers unless you're traveling for 3 days straight. We've got a couple different silhouettes in this fabric. There's a long sleeve polo, there's a short sleeve polo, we've got some Henleys, we've got a thicker sweater. Some of my other favorite products, I'm a big runner, and when I'm running in colder weather, really appreciate merino layers. So Tracksmith has got a great merino jogger. They've also got a great merino half zip that I own. You know, we talk a lot about, and foundationally, merino wool is so good for travel, so good for adventure and outdoors. But it's also because of the softness, because of it being used in different applications outside of just the outdoor technical side of things. It's great for every day. I keep referencing, but I'm not wearing the shirt just because I'm shooting this Gear Lab. Like, this is a white tee that I'm wearing in the office and I'm very comfortable in. It looks cleaned up enough. Our temperature swings, for anyone that's coming to Huckberry, we've got a great powerful AC, good for the temperature regulation. I am wearing various pieces of merino wool every single day as sort of everyday style, everyday application. So don't think about merino wool as only outdoor, only adventure. They are great for that. But with the right application, it is a great everyday fabric for all of the reasons that we've discussed. And you don't have to do laundry as much. Another question that I'm very fortunate to often get is, what has been your favorite 72-hour adventure? So for those of you that have asked, thank you for watching. But my favorite, it's really hard to answer. There's so many other more important things to worry about, like what are you gonna do? Who are you gonna see? Making sure that you're connecting with the right people. And there's something so satisfying about packing one t-shirt, about packing one pair of pants, putting on a backpack and hopping on a plane. My favorite, if you had to choose, would be Iceland, but more importantly, my favorite thing is on the more tactical side, the freeing and satisfaction of packing in one bag. But most importantly, it's getting to go on these epic adventures with some incredible people. Our ambassador, Shay Johnson in Tofino, Sinway Xavier in Camp Yoshi in southern Utah, the On Running crew in the Swiss Alps. That's what's been really special, going to these epic places and seeing it through the eyes of people who really know those places. And the last thing I'm worrying about through all of that is what I'm wearing. Is my shirt gonna handle things? So 72-hour, it's a great shirt, but what I love most is more what it represents. So there's my philosophical thought of the day. So there you have it, our deep dive on merino wool. I hope that was helpful. If you've got additional questions, as always, but especially around the things that we talked about today, merino wool in general, make sure you drop them in the comments. We want to make sure we answer them. As always, Ask Huckberry is for you. So if there's other deep dives you want us to go into, another fabric, another construction, another topic, we love going deep. We'll also be coming back with some more generalized Ask Huckberries, hitting a few different things, bringing in some different people. But all of this is for you, so let us know what you want to see. Thank you for watching. As always, make sure you subscribe, like the video. We'll be dropping Gear Labs and Ask Huckberries regularly on this channel. So until next time, we will see you out there. And only one shirt.